Good evening. Welcome to the Lower Macungie Township Board of Commissioners Workshop for May 27th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Please join me for a pledge to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 2, annual report from the Macungie Ambulance Corps. Chris.
Good evening, Christopher Greb, Macungie Ambulance Corps. Thank you as always for allowing me a few moments to provide our annual report, which I believe you have in your packet somewhere or got it at some time in the past. I do apologize for it being the end of May. It takes a little bit to get the numbers together, got to work through some schedules, and this is probably one of my last seasons coaching for my son's team, so we're going to try to get through that here yet. So last year, our call volume returned to 5,110 emergency calls for service. If you recall, last year I had talked about that big dip we had there, which really wasn't clear as to why that occurred in 2024. And it came back. Don't really know why. I wish I could tell you. I can tell you that we are about 80 calls ahead of where we were last year as of today. Of those 5,110 calls, there were 3,921 of them in Lower Macungie Township. Inside our report, we kind of have a variety of information in there. We kind of mix and match and pick different points for you every year. We think of our organization as 4 kind of distinct divisions working together. One would be what we call general operations, or what you normally think of the ambulance corps responding to emergencies. We spend a lot of time on training above and beyond what you would normally think of. Think call 911, we show up, take them to the hospital, but there's really a lot more to that in emergency medical services of today. So we have in there our Mission Lifeline Award that we work hard towards every year. That's basically more or less a third-party accreditation, where we have to send them a bunch of our data and show that we're meeting certain metrics that were measured against other organizations across the country. And we're proud to have been doing that since they began it, I think, 12 years ago. Our fleet is listed in there. We have 6 ambulances and a few 5 ambulances, 6 on order, a few other vehicles that support that. We drove 70,000 miles last year, costing about $90,000 to operate. On the bottom right hand corner on the inside, we included this year, as we did last year, kind of breakdown of what our call volume is, why do people call an ambulance, and the majority of them are medical emergencies, and then your traumas and falls, traffic accidents, and then a whole mishmash of other things that people call the ambulance for. Our community outreach division is very busy. Their information is on the back of the form and also on one of the inserts, the teal green looking one. The community outreach handles both training of our own individuals, public training, and training of local emergency responders. One of the things that we're able to do through our Marissa Fry Memorial Emergency Responder Training Fund is to provide all of the disposable supplies that our local emergency responders use and the training they need in EMS free of charge. So thankfully through that fund and the folks that fund us from that, we're able to offer that service to our local emergency responders. So we did 31 community courses, 298 individuals certified, an additional 150 received just hands-only CPR training, open houses, community days, any number of things that people ask the ambulance to attend. We also come out and visit every public access defibrillation that we know, the defibrillator, make sure it works. So we come around quarterly or 3 times a year to all of your facilities, but many in the community, businesses, churches, just make sure that that AED hanging on the wall is ready to go. And one of our big fears is someone spends the money to buy it and they forget about it, and then 4 years later when you need it, it's there dead. So, we can't supply all the batteries for all those and the pads, but we can certainly go out and talk to the folks who are responsible for them and say, hey, it's coming up or whatever. So we do that regularly. Our Special Operations Division, they work with 2 other agencies in the county, 2 fire departments, to provide additional services at big incidents. We went to 4 different counties last year, that being Lehigh, Berks, Monroe, and Northampton. went to 41 incidents, the majority of them being building fires, but sometimes searches or the big mountain fire that occurred. We were up there for, between all three of us, I think 3 full days straight, some of our representatives up there assisting. And it's just a small part of what we do, but it is important. And then the last portion is administration, of course, the dollars and cents of it all. We've had the same billing office lady in our office now for 35 years, or 35th year this year. And thankfully, she's been able to take pretty good care of us and keep me in line. So last year, we have our budget numbers in there. Total expenses were just under our total income, so we were about $40,000 to the good, not including capital expenses. Unfortunately, we had about $75,000 worth of capital expenses, being a litter, a load system. The thing you put the patient on is ridiculously expensive to put in the truck, as well as some increased security for our narcotics. The DEA finally came out with guidelines specific to emergency medical services, and that required us, not that they weren't secure before, but add some fingerprints and scanning and other things, a more secure way of securing those. And that machine cost us a bunch of money. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I thank you for your ongoing support. Our organization enjoys unbelievable support from our community, from elected officials, from appointed officials, from just about everybody. And you know, as EMS continues to evolve, unfortunately, years ago, I've been here since 1998 and in charge since 2005, more or less. And for many years, the community support wasn't necessary. It was nice, it was helpful. There was a time when this municipality gave us $5,000 a year, and we just couldn't do it anymore without that support. It just changed. Healthcare has changed, where the cost of readiness, the cost of going to folks who aren't able to pay their bills, the cost of providing services that don't get reimbursed. We go out to a car accident, there's nobody hurt. Well, we still have to drive, it all costs money. And we rely on our municipal partners and our community members to help make that gap and keep us solvent for the years to come. And you folks have always been great at meeting those needs, so we absolutely appreciate that. So with that, I'll stop rambling and be happy to answer any questions you may have. And again, thank you.
Oh, yeah, I have a few questions. I know the ambulance are busy because Willow Lane is highly traveled.
Yeah, okay.
That must be a route. I don't know if it's to the nursing homes over there.
Probably the back way. With the no left turn off of Lower Macungie Road, the going up Willow is kind of a shortcut.
These are busy. And you had mentioned 6 ambulances in the fleet.
5 currently, 6 on order.
6 on order. Are we getting? Are we going the route of ordering new complete units? Because I know years ago you ordered cabin chassis and retrofitted the old units, which I'm not promoting that. Maybe in today's world that's not the way to go anymore. But
Nope.
New ones being ordered. How are they coming?
Still the way we're doing it. So right now we had 5. The last one we bought was, so we're remounting one time at this point. So we buy a new one, and then 12 to 15 years later we remount that and we use it again. So the box ends up being about 25 years old. The brand new one that's on order that we ordered last January and will be here next October is a 6. So that is a full brand new one. Right. The one after that will be a remount. So one of our trucks currently, the reason we had to do that this time is because by the time the end of next year comes here, it will be very difficult to provide the service with only 4 ambulances, because they go out of service for a year to get that, 8 months or so to get that remount. So we're doing every other currently. All right. Buy a new one, buy a remount, buy a new one, buy a remount. And that's the plan for the next decade or two.
So to answer another question, they must be working out pretty well then, the remounts.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, we haven't yet come up to one to come into the second round of remounting. So one that's already 25 years old, whether or not we'll do it again, right. The box being 25, we will be crossing that bridge probably in 8 more years until the first remount that we did reaches that point. And then we'll have to see how that goes. You know, at that point, you're looking at 25-year-old technology and materials that you're trying to put on a brand new chassis. It may be only once, but we may be able to do it more.
All right, thank you. Any questions, Melissa?
Yeah, just a question. Have you seen any changes with having the new hospital in Lower Macungie?
So in 2024's drop, we did note that the new hospital opened, and that very well could have been a reason for that. But the volume started to drop, honestly, before the hospital was open, so we weren't really sure. I certainly anecdotally know that some people go there that used to call the ambulance. I was teaching a CPR class, and a woman told me, yes, my father passed out the other day, so I just picked him up and ran him to the hospital over here. So, okay, yes, so it certainly has had an impact. Again, our call volume went right back up, so not an immense impact. I do know that, there are a lot of patients that self-present there and end up being transported to another facility. We generally do not do that work. We leave that for other folks that aren't committed to emergency calls. On the rare occasion, they will call me, especially if they have someone walk in that's very, very sick, and we will hurry up over there and get them to, normally Cedar Crest, but any other facility they need. But we generally leave that non-emergency work to other agencies. We try to commit ourselves to providing the care in the community.
And then have you been able to reduce any mileage, like because it's there and maybe closer?
Certainly. I will run reports for you and send how many patients we're taking there. I think my last feel on it was 1 per day, and if we're running about 13 calls. So yeah, we certainly have been able to, that's a guess. I'll give you a hard number on that. I could probably look at my phone and tell you actually, but I'll give you a hard number on what we did last year to that facility. In my personal opinion, I guess therefore the organizations, I think it's a great community asset. I think it's great to have there. It's not for everybody. It's not for every emergency, but I believe across the healthcare system, something like 80 to 90% of people that go to an emergency department are not admitted. So being able to move that volume from the large tertiary care centers to the outliers is great and better for the community as far as I'm concerned.
Great, thanks.
All right, Wes.
First, thank you for all that you do. Appreciate it. Any trends that you've seen that are going in a positive direction, negative direction in your
volume, or just anything anywhere?
Anything. I mean, anything. Like last year was obviously an easy one to spot. The volume was a trend change, but anything that stood out this year?
Well, I can tell you from the good side of the world, we are fully staffed, which is something that we don't normally see across EMS. And for us, that is 17 full-timers currently is what we're fully staffed at. So that's myself and Martha. We obviously don't run the ambulance every day. And our community outreach guy does half and half. But other than that, that's good because we don't see that across EMS very often. And very honestly, I have a pretty good stack of applications that we're not acting on. So I think we're doing very well with getting our current providers trained to advanced levels through the programs by supporting them and doing basically employment contracts to help them pay for the cost. The paramedic program right now is about $9,000. So for a certain number of years, we'll help them defray that cost. And I think we're doing also a very good job of getting new providers coming into the field. We have almost every day someone riding along with us in an EMT program, a nursing program, a paramedic program that is coming to learn. And they come and see our organization and they're interested in what we do and they're interested in the way we do it. So we kind of get to pick the really good ones to come and bring them on board, which is a positive. And honestly, when a year ago, when it was not like this, where we were really struggling for people, as part of our strategy was to go and get more into those training programs, meet the people before every person in paramedic program has a job. Like every single one that's in there has a job coming out. But sometimes they change their mind. Sometimes they want to come to us, which is a good thing. So I think that's the good side of the world. I think from the financial side of the world, last year, very honestly, being 40,000 to the good is for $2.5 million is not very good. So I think that as we look at the gap between what insurance reimburses and what it costs to provide, that's scary, very honestly. And there is some legislation proposed, which probably comes up every couple of years, to mandate commercial insurers to pay us directly unless we're participating. And that participating, that means to take less money than we normally would get. Commercial insurers pay the patient. And then it's on us to go and get that money back from the patient because we're out of network. And that it leaves a really big opportunity for lost revenue and revenue that individuals that really should be coming to us, they get to keep. So, and it's just difficult. I mean, people get a little check on the bottom of their slip, they throw it away, they have no idea, you know. So if that legislation were to gain some traction for requiring direct payment at a certain level, that would be a huge benefit. But in any case, costs are going up, reimbursement's going down. It's everything everyone knows about the whole world. So that would be a worrying trend, I would say.
Great. No, I appreciate the insight.
Absolutely.
Another question?
Yeah, I
guess.
Any concerning trends like concerns around drugs or overdoses, something like that?
Again, we'll run those numbers for you. I always refrain from throwing out what my gut tells me. I will definitely say this. We can tell when there's a bad batch going around. We can tell when there is absolutely something going on in the community because you can hear it, a spike within a day or two where there are more and more overdoses. And I often tell this story where, I mean, we're huge advocates for getting anybody the help they can need. In our ambulances, we have little packets with information to kind of get people the help they can need. I responded to a call when I was running on the ambulance every day for an overdose. We, saved the man's life with naloxone, took him to the hospital. And I often have pretty lengthy conversations with people. This was from pretty far out, so I had some time. And I said, look, I believe, again, I'm not a mental health and addiction expert, but I believe the case is that for people that overcome addiction, on average, they fail, I think the number is 14 to 17 times first. It takes them 14 to 17 times before they're truly able to live with their addiction that doesn't continue to overwhelm their life. And I said to him, I said, I may not be able to solve this today, but no matter what you do, throw away what you have now, because I'm telling you, it's going to kill you. And the next day I took him to the hospital again, the very next day. So it's not an easy answer. I'm just saying that trend we can say. I will look at some hard numbers and get those back to you as well.
Thanks.
Okay, and have you seen any impact or heard of any impact that the cuts to Medicaid are going to cause?
I have not yet. I haven't been able to look ahead yet at those. I will say that in Medicaid in Pennsylvania over the last, I'll say 5 years, they greatly increased the reimbursements to ambulance corps. So the old Medicaid reimbursement was for a BLS ambulance call, I believe $125, and I believe ALS was $200. That is now closer to the $400 or $500 range, which is the Medicare rate. And that passed a couple of years ago. I don't know what will happen with the future changes.
Okay.
Question.
Stephanie, your turn.
How many employees do you have, and what's the breakdown of EMTs, paramedics, and are there drivers, or are they doing dual like EMT is driving?
So going off the top of my head, again, 17 full-timers, I would say 15 part-timers that work regularly, a variety of volunteers generally who are coming up through the ranks and then want to go paid, as well as 2 volunteers that have been with us a long time and they run Tuesday and Wednesday nights. It's pretty well split down the middle between paramedic and EMT. We also have 3 advanced EMTs, which is a newer level in Pennsylvania, the last 5 years or so, and that kind of helps us bridge the gap when we don't have all the paramedics to staff the ambulances. So it's pretty well split. I believe our full-timers are exactly split. I think if you did 7, I think if you have 14, we'd be 7 medics, 7 EMTs, somewhere right around there. We don't have any just drivers. We do have 1 nurse who is currently in the program to become a pre-hospital nurse. So you can become a nurse in Pennsylvania, get your nursing license, and then take additional training to work basically like a paramedic on the ambulance. And on our ambulances, on the street level, they do the exact same thing as a paramedic. But she's in that program now, but we did hire her because she can actually drive for another EMT until she's cleared as a pre-hospital nurse. But we don't generally hire any non-EMT, so we have a mix in between. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, and the ones that are in training, EMT, paramedic, or nursing,
Yep.
are they paid or they're?
So the majority of our folks now are paid. I mean, someone comes to us from the community with no training at all. We will often tell them, we will absolutely bring you on as a volunteer with the understanding that when you get through our precepting program, if you want, we will pay you. The majority of people obviously want that. For anybody else, so anybody that then is already an EMT came to us, or one of our members and is going through the paramedic program, they're paid and working through the class. Our, I'll say, success rate from bringing a person directly from the community with no training onto a paid employee is probably less than 50%. Several reasons. A lot of folks are coming to us with the hopes of getting patient contact hours for other careers, and they don't really have a whole interest in really this career moving forward. And the other part of it is that our in-house training program is fairly intensive, especially compared to some others. We've modeled it after some programs across the country. It's 5 phases. It's at least 5 months as being a third. So that means we're paying someone to be a third for 5 months. And I can tell you our newest full-timer that we just hired after we had someone move on to be a firefighter down in Bucks County, she came to us right out of class with no EMS experience. Her name's Cheryl. She was over at the tree lighting with me, actually. And so she came to us in class, rode along. We said, oh, she's a good egg. And we hired her directly out of class. We got her through our precepting program, which took nearly the full 6 months, a significant investment, and now we've been able to bring her on as full-time. So it's kind of exciting.
Okay, I got one more comment. You know, following up on what Melissa said, you know, when you hear you Christopher talk about ODs, bad batches, 14 to 17 times, it just should make all the responsible citizens, everybody, you know, that are parents and grandparents, just really, you got to watch your children and the young people today who are most vulnerable to this poison. And I guess it leads up to my question, is it a lot of young people that you see?
I'll definitely get that number. I would just be guessing.
I don't need a number.
Yeah.
But I mean, young, I'm hoping you're going to say no. You know, younger junior high kids, students.
I wouldn't even. I'll look at the numbers and let you know for sure. I mean, I will tell you a variety, absolutely a variety. Whether or not it leans one way or the other, I can't be sure.
All right, it's just so sad to hear this. I guess because I have grandkids and I look at them and you just need one wacko gets a hold of them. It would be not good. Any more questions for Chris? Bruce.
Just real quick to follow up, you know, Chris and I do meet regularly. I think it's important for the board to note, note for the board how far, Chris takes his trending plus financial analysis. We continue, as, the question was about trending positive or negative, the things that we are seeing on the financial side where, Chris is definitely providing those updates. And, I think, to give the board enough notice at some point, there will be a time, I believe anyway, that, increase in EMS funding, especially from this municipality, is going to be necessary to ensure that, a service is there and provided, and you see they're being expertly run at the moment. We are seeing other services throughout the state that are struggling on all the things, as Chris said, finding employees, having those components to pay for their business operation when ambulance costs are doubling from what they were years ago. All of those components that we have to be mindful of, and it's, seeing ambulance services go bankrupt, seeing some, multi-million-dollar agencies begin to struggle and reach out to municipalities. We were very fortunate that Chris is proactive in the association so that we can have those conversations. And, eventually we may have them. So I never want the board to be surprised if in several years or a year that there's a discussion for emergency services, both fire and EMS, to make sure that we're appropriately moving in a direction to sustain them. So, I think it's important just kind of to note that. And, thanks to Chris and everything, he doesn't highlight really all they do for the township as a business entity, from all of the employees that they put through our CPR first aid program, including our camp counselors, our public works employees. Chris and his team help facilitate additional AEDs into our fleet in our public works department, provided a little, advanced type equipment review with us as a staff, and all of those that most people probably don't realize are part of what they offer to us to keep us going as well and take care of our employees and the general public that we may encounter. So I think he missed that part, and I just want to make sure that we review that so the board knows all the other things that are also happening here. And if you want to see things like fleet planning, Chris is laying out and has a fleet plan, knowing where we're going to go. The township has budgeted additional revenues or expenditures towards EMS. When I first arrived here, it was around $35,000. We've been in the $75,000 to $100,000 range lately, knowing that we have equipment replacements, or Chris has equipment replacements ongoing, but those things are all worked out on that 5 and 10 year mark, and he has those. So if the board ever wants to see those, we're more than happy to circulate as well, or have Chris come back for additional kind of details.
And most exciting, Bill is on vacation this week for the playground staff, so I'll be teaching them myself, and I'm sure they're outstandingly excited about that.
Okay, any more questions? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
You
Thank
too.
you.
You also.
Good luck tonight, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, item 3, review procedure for realignment of Locust Lane. Mark, and then to follow up if Megan has anything to add. Mark.
Thank you, President Beitler. So this has come before the board before a couple months ago. It relates to the Mertztown subdivision that is being constructed currently, which also has a history back in the Spring Creek settlement subdivision from many years ago. So what we're looking at tonight is a vacation of a portion of the right-of-way for Locust Lane, which has been realigned to meet up with a new portion of road that's coming out of the Mertztown subdivision and then meeting up with Brookdale Road. The reason that we're bringing it up again at the workshop is just because the procedure to do this is somewhat, I'll say, complicated. It's not that complicated. It's just a multi-step process under the First Class Township Code in order to just get rid of this little portion of road so that it can be realigned and adopted as the new portion of the road. So what we're going to have before you in June is a hearing similar to what we had recently on the zoning ordinance, where we just have to basically hold a hearing to invite any public comment to come before the board and state any position or objection someone might have to the vacation of the road. We do not anticipate any. The portion of right-of-way is actually being given back to the landowners on each side of the road. So one of them is Adam Pusker and Logan Michelle Pusker, and then on the other side is actually David Jandal, who's building the Mertztown subdivision. They have both agreed to accept that right-of-way. Normally, when you have these hearings, the board would have to prepare a report of what happens at the hearing and why you want to get rid of the right-of-way. That report, in this case, is an agreement. So it has two functions. It's the report and an agreement to show that the abutting property owners are agreeable to taking this portion of property back. We will then take that report, we file it with the county. There is a 30-day period in which anybody that wants to can come forward and try to file an objection or an exception, they call it, to that report. Again, we don't anticipate that happening. Once that period expires, we can then adopt an ordinance vacating that portion of the road. And during this whole time frame, we will also accept dedication of the new portion of the road. So then that'll come by deed, which the board will just approve by resolution and officially open that as a public road. So that's really the explanation of the process. It'll be multi-step because of that We have to issue notice for the hearing, so there's a 10-day notice period for the hearing, so that can't happen until sometime in June. I think we're doing it at the second June meeting. Then there's the 30-day period after we file that agreement. We obviously have to get the agreement finalized and then signed by everybody before it gets filed, so there'll be a little period there. Wait the 30 days, then adopt the ordinance. So you're probably looking at all of this being finished sometime in August, maybe, once that whole period, all those periods expire. So rather than just throw this on regular agendas for you guys to say, okay, why are we doing this right now? I thought it was a good idea to just explain the process to you and answer any questions that you might have about what's happening. And in the packet and up on the screen shows you the portion of road that's being vacated, which has colored drawing on it, and then the new portion is the portion that swings down and into like a T intersection and then goes into another T intersection. So if anybody has any questions about the procedures or anything else, happy to answer any questions.
I did have a question, but you covered it. The vacationing process of a roadway.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mark? Melissa?
I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
Is the reason for moving it over because that's going to be a lot where the road currently is?
No, I believe, and maybe Nate or Vince could answer this better, I think it is safer. I think that was primarily the reason. Am I correct there? Or Megan can answer that too, either way.
Go ahead.
Yes, because it was safer. It was coming in at a more of an abrupt angle, which you can see from that original, I believe it's earlier in the packet. It shows that image. So that shows the sharp angle. But this was also part of the Spring Creek settlement as well. So that was what was originally proposed.
In the overall plan for that development, what has Randall got proposed for the part that he's adding it onto?
That is a lot. So that is, I think, lot 1, I believe, and that'll give them some additional space in that lot. That one. Yeah,
so
lot 1.
Your question, Steph and Maury, then yes, it's safer. However, it does create another lot. So that will be a single-family dwelling as shown on the plans, so.
Okay.
All right, any more questions? All right, thank you, Mark. Item 4. Review draft resolution approving disposition of township property. Bruce.
Thank you. Just for the background for the board, whenever we have items that we need to dispose of the township, we have a policy in place that provides that anything over $2,000 worth of value, we bring back to the board. You deem that as disposed. We do that through an auction process. It is a platform called Municibid. So items under 2,000, the township manager is allowed to declare those and dispose of them as necessary. Sometimes we also use the online auction platform. If they're worth no value, I deem it and we dispose of it in the dumpster, or we are able to sell those things directly if it's $50, $100. We always try to put it on Municibid. But what you have before you is the items as designated, and you see their value. Some of them are less than $2,000, so we list them all now. You're authorized us to proceed forward with our auction and then dispose of the assets. So this is our basic housekeeping, so that you're aware that we're getting rid of items as per the first class code, and also so you know how they're going. So. Without this authorization, we would have to keep them. So we're always recommending, this list does come from the department directors as they reviewed items that they believe are no longer necessary for their operation as well.
All right, Bruce, thank you. Any questions for Bruce? All right, seeing none. Moving on to item 5. Review recommendation letter from tax collector for appointment of a deputy tax collector. Bruce?
Thank you. I will somewhat get through this as best as I can, not knowing the tax collector law as well. Mark is also looking for me as well and doing research, but the tax collector has requested from the township the appointment of a deputy to take their place if they would become incapacitated for any reason. The tax collector code for the state allows that to happen. The township board of commissioners would have to be the ones that authorize that deputy. We have had deputies in the past of that operation.
Did not, you said?
We did in the previous. The current tax collector was a deputy for the former tax collector. So we just want to make sure we're approving the process right. I forget how we did it. I think it was a resolution acknowledging that and making sure the deputy position is a necessity for their operation down there. So we do have questions occasionally about the tax collector. We try to explain to those residents that, they're an independent elected official, and the way they run their operation is kind of on them as an independent elected official. There's always confusion sometimes with people that come into the building thinking we are the tax collector. This part of the process is something that the township would engage to recognize the deputy, though. So.
Okay, I had 3 questions, but you answered them all. This is nothing new to the township, correct?
Correct.
And past practice, we did this, and we had prior appointments. My only question is, do we ever do it midstream like this, or is this usually done at the beginning of their term, or?
I think the last one was kind of midstream, so I'd have to look. It's not usually. I don't think we did. I only did it one time here, and I don't think we did it like right at the beginning of the year or the term. So, she had a resignation actually down in her office too. So, this is why we're kind of midstream.
All right, and then I'm sure Mark is going to follow up on this.
Yeah, Bruce and I started talking about it a couple of days ago. Started to take a look, but we need to do some more research on it.
All right, I have no more questions. Any other questions?
Since this is already an employee, does it come with any change in their salary?
So that's important to note. They are not our employee.
Oh, they're not.
The office maintains their own independent staff. The salary, I won't say salary, but the amount that we provide to the tax collector is set by the first class township code. It's $10,000. We do not pay for any of their other staffing down there. We do pay for expenses to print and mail our bills, and then the software to maintain that collection. We do provide that, but they are not our employee, and we have no purview over that person.
Who does? Is it
The tax collector.
Who's she getting her salary from?
People.
So
Like the county or the?
no, so we provide a $10,000 as per max amount that she can use towards her salary. Tax collectors also receive payment, and I don't want to speak for her directly because I'm not sure how it's kind of broken down, but they receive fees for when they do a certificate, a tax certificate for properties that transfer, or somebody that needs an approval for a tax certificate. I think that's $50 a certificate now at this point. And I really don't know about the school district side, but there is a payment, I believe, from the school district side. I know in the second class township, which we're not, of course, they are able to do like a certain face percent of billing for school districts and everything. So yes, they have a pool of money which they pay appropriate staff for, if that makes sense. And it doesn't come from the county. And like I said, we provide the $10,000 payment from the township.
Yearly?
Yearly.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that is interesting. I didn't know that either. So this will come out of their $10,000 payment from us.
I have no idea. I would assume that the $10,000 goes right to the tax collector as that money we pay towards her directly. She has a she has a budget of running her office. I don't know how or the amount of monies received, but that would come out of that component.
All right.
You know.
Maybe,
Melissa.
Yeah, just maybe in the future, maybe she could just give us a quick overview of how operations run. I mean, just something brief, our awareness.
I can. I think that's why I need Mark as well. Because
Actually, all of this stuff is what we were researching because of a question I received from the public or someone in the office about oversight of the tax collector. But they're an elected official, so as Wes said, the people are the ones that have the oversight. So we'll look into some of these other issues for you guys, but it's clear as mud, I guess, is the way that I started. My initial look was making it that way, at least. Governed by state statute. So state statute sometimes can be a puzzle that we have to unravel.
And they require certain things in that state statute, like, annual or monthly reporting to the Department of Community and Economic Development at the state of, collections, bills mailed. There's a requirement for an initial training course, and then I think it's 2 hours every 4 years of continuing education in the tax collection service. As I said, in my 20 plus years in government, I really don't know too much about that because they're standalone operations. But we can kind of give a little bit of background, I guess, that we can find, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, item 6, manager updates. 6.1, update on investment services with Freedom Capital Group. Bruce.
Thank you. We had discussed at a previous workshop the opportunity to engage Freedom Capital with the board. Ms. Dobson, our finance director, she was at some training during that meeting. I know there were several questions from the board. I wanted to make sure that I had either appropriate answers or Ms. Dobson will be here, would like to potentially have the board consider this at the next meeting. She would be in attendance for additional questions. I wanted to see if the board had certain ones that I may have missed, or if you have new ones, we can reach out to Anne Reed, and get her to have those. I know there were some questions about fees, and of those, how are fees charged? So there's not an advisory fee to the township. These are from Ms. Dobson when we followed up. That they get compensated through a small amount that's billed in the rate or price of the investment from the issuer. So that institution figures there is a fee for that component. It's built into the rate as what was provided. So we're still seeing market volatility. There was a question about what kind of rates may be out there. They're still in the 3.7 to 4% range, and laddering those investments, as we said, in various CDs, municipal lending, and treasuries, so that we're kind of spread out. We're looking to, as FDIC insurance allows that to, around to the 250,000 mark, would be around the 235,000 per CD. So they would be spread out on numerous agencies. So, those were some of the questions that we had received. I wanted to make sure that I at least followed that part up for you. And if there's more questions, let me know.
Okay, I guess my fundamental question is, are they worth it? That we already have some people that are providing financial guidance to us, and then they come along and say, well, for another $35,000 or $40,000, we can do so much more, and to have that be cost effective, they've got to be able to do more than $40,000 worth of additional benefits for the township, and I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I think as a staff, what we hear in feedback, and, I think that's a valid question. It is the component of, shopping these investment opportunities, plus working on the ladder that allows our director and our deputy director some additional time where they're not managing multiple CDs all over the place and calling banks saying, what's this rate, what's that rate, what's this rate all day, when we're talking about a ladder for $1 million to $2 million. They're constantly then searching for the investment opportunity, knowing that that price, if they find a CD for 3.7% or 3.9%, and we are still getting that fixed percent, and that vendor is getting whatever that markup was from, the financial institution to issue that CD, we're still realizing that 3.9% or 3.7. We're not then paying an additional fee out of that component. And I'm sure, yes, maybe his fee is 0.02%, and we could be getting 3.92% somewhere instead of 3.9, as an example. But we're now logistically, as a staff, having more aggressive time spent on banking, if that makes sense.
So do we need the other advisors that we have already been paying?
So we don't have any other advisors. We are in various funds. So we've spread our money out to reduce risk. So like we're in the Pliget Fund, which is the local government investment opportunity. Also the school district, Pennsylvania PLSDAF Fund, which is another investment fund. So we technically don't really have advisors. Our finance team has been working to manage those investments and shift monies on opportunities. So,
How much time do we think the team will be able to free up by bringing on this?
I don't have probably a set amount, but I know we're spending several hours sometimes dealing with banks and looking for that. And I would say that's spread out because we have numerous investments that come due, and they're staggered. So it might not be any time for a month or two. Then we're shopping rates, what it takes to shop rates, and then get with a bank and do the investment for that component. So it's sporadic, but the request has been from the department too, this would be helpful for their time and their efficiency. So, and they've had a positive experience in the past using this group, and they're aware of their experience and how they can assist them, if that makes sense.
And what's the duration of the agreement?
I believe we have the opportunity to terminate that agreement with prior notice, and I think it's 90 day or 60 or 90 day.
I'd have to look back. That was one of the points we looked for in the contract when it was reviewed to make sure that it was terminable by the township. Okay, and it's in there.
All right. Once again, you answered two of my questions, or the ones you answered. The fees are built into the rates.
Correct.
So we're not paying any additional fees. If we get 4.9, their fee is in that rate.
Correct.
And then I brought up about the federal insurance exceeding 250, which you had said that they're paying attention to that. If we go over a little, I just don't want to see it double and triple go over.
Yeah, they're still recommending that $235,000 for each one of those ladders. So when we build the ladder, it would be multiple opportunities to not exceed that 250.
Right. So we're actually under it. We're not going over.
Correct.
We're staying under it. And as far as shopping for the rates in house, the shopping time would only be a month or so before the CD matures. It's
Correct.
not like we're shopping every day. We can only shop when it matures because there would be a penalty to pull out early.
Correct. We have multiple investments though that we're managing kind of already in a ladder on
So they come in
6
probably
a
every
year. 6, a year, a 9 month. So we have a little bit of a lag. It's not every month, but we're probably every other month pulling rates, making sure we're where we need to be.
So if there's 6, that means 6-month research and 6 downtime.
Yeah.
Any more questions? All right. Thank you, Bruce. Moving on, item 7, departmental reports. Now, not in any particular order, but Nate, Vince, Doug, Meg, and Mark, whoever wants to go first, go for it. Vince, you ready?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I'll go. Just a couple items here just to update the report that I sent that's in the board packet. So I just want to let you know that Spring Creek 2022 modification, as well as the 6130 Sauerkraut Land Development Plan was recorded. So we'll be seeing some action on those 2 projects. So also Cove at Millbrook, that is Sauerkraut and Macungie Road, as well as 3510 Macungie Road are also around the finish line. So we got agreements in, check sets reviewed, so we should be getting signed plans. And so I'd say we have 2 more projects getting recorded and potential groundbreaking within the next month or so. So should be busy summer. So speaking of busy, Mertztown, the pump station recently received approval from DEP, so that is under a temporary operation stage. So we can now issue certificate of occupancies for the model homes, which there are 2 single-family model homes right now that NVR Ryan Homes is currently marketing, as well as a 4-unit townhome unit that also has a model home in there. So we should be issuing the COs for the models, I would say, this week. For the single families, they want to kick off the open house this coming weekend. So we also, with the pump station coming online, we can also issue additional permits now throughout the development. So that will be moving right along. They feel, NVR feels sales will be high. They have good interest already, and they didn't even open the models yet. So we'll see what that brings this summer. Other than that, nothing really, unless there's other questions from myself, or like Ron said, Nathan is here this week, so any questions for us, be happy to answer.
Okay, thank you, Vince. Nate, anything to add?
Thank you, sir. The only things I would add, as previously advertised to the board, we have been diligently working on grant applications this summer. We have more that are coming up due in the coming months, and you will have resolutions before you shortly in the coming weeks to approve our application to those upcoming grants for paths and for ADA crosswalks in the township. Additionally, we are taking, since the board took action on the zoning ordinance, we are doing our follow-up work that's necessary now. And last but not least, for those interested, the Planning Commission meeting this month will be June the 9th, and we do expect to have a meeting.
All right, thank you, Nate. Doug.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple quick updates. My report was submitted. Some major projects going to be starting here in a public works group. East Texas Playground will be starting next week. The public works group, we will be removing the old playground in preparation. The new playground will be will be excavating and grading for the new playground, which is scheduled for July, as well as pre-construction meeting next week for the hot mix program, which will be starting in a couple weeks, probably a week or 2 after school is over, as well as our stormwater program. Mr. Rehab will be here next week, starting to camera and video in the lines in preparation for the stormwater project. Other than that, if there's any questions, I feel free to answer.
A question. As far as the bridge over on Indian Creek Road, is there any, has PennDOT come up with any kind of schedule for when they are planning to be done with that?
I'm not aware of their schedule. I can reach out to my connections and find out for the board.
Okay.
I'll reach out and find out.
An update next Thursday.
I can have an update next Thursday. I can reach out.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any more questions for Doug? All right, I'm gonna jump to Mark, because On Mr. Rehab, I have a question before you have anything to add. I don't know if you reported already or we're still looking into some kind of guarantee on cured-in-place lining, CIPP lining, because of the failure we had in the last 5 years, premature failure. But I think we discussed this before, and refresh my memory if we did come to a conclusion.
I'm going to ask Bruce to refresh mine, because I think we did talk about it and we inquired with them. Didn't we, Bruce?
I did. I have that in an email. I don't remember offhand what it was for the board. I know we definitively have a year with our performance bond in those areas. The company, as stated, we've dealt with them in the past, so we're confident in their work as they've been standing behind those type of items. They did give an actual warranty for the length of time for the pipe. I have to look that up for components. I want to say it's 10 years, but I have to pull that email again to make sure I advise everybody of the right thing. I don't want to say the wrong thing here. But the install is 1 year for the company, so with that performance bond.
Which I think we talked to Brian and said that was pretty standard as well.
That is the
that type
standard
of work.
Yeah, that is the standard component of that. As I said, we've dealt with this vendor in the past. They definitely want to make sure that they are providing appropriate work to the township. And we also feel our inspection division now at this point in the last 5 years has been definitely adequate to review what's happening in the field and those conditions before we let that year go. So if that does slip in the year, we would be looking at that component. So, but I will pull those numbers again.
All right, I would think between Bruce, Doug, Mark, and Megan, we can get something in writing for that contractor. That way we just didn't talk about it, we have it.
I have a written response back from Mr. Clark at Mr. Rehab, and like I said, he provided those components for what it's going to be. So it's definitely a year for the install and that component. But I will find what he also provided for, that length of time for the product here. The actual cure-in-place pipe liner for material defects of the actual liner, not the install, is 10 years. The product warranty on the Aegean cure-in-place pipe as well, product M-tube, which we do use. The material defect and manufacturing issues, not the install, for a period of 1 year from the date of installation. The design life of those cured-in-place liners is 100 years. So 1 year for the material defects for the Aegean. We also use the other brand, which is a 10-year limited warranty on components for the vacuities and the lining of that part, and then a 1 year install, which, as we said, is the standard. That's the standard install warranty on there.
Okay, well, thank you for explaining that. That's the first time I heard it in detail like that, and it appears better than just saying 1 year. All right, thank you. Megan, do you have anything to add tonight?
I'm not a department, but I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Any questions for Megan?
Okay.
I think everybody answered your questions, Megan. All right, Bruce and Renee, if you want to wrap it up, if you have anything to add, that would be it.
Just that we'll need the board for an executive this evening to talk about potential litigation and personnel. So that's all I have, unless there's additional questions or things that might be on anybody's radar that we want to put out there.
I had a question maybe for Doug and Bruce. This is about yard waste and the yard waste center, and specifically around the neighborhoods that are private, and how do we communicate to folks that the yard waste center is there? Like, hey, don't put your yard waste in the trash.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think for part of it is we don't directly communicate with the HOA of where that service is. We do our minimum advertising like on the website about when that happens. New resident packets when they come in to fill out their moving permit. We include items about the yard waste center and how they can enroll and get a pass. So as they move in on that part, the existing residents, hopefully they're watching our website since Renee puts so much work into that part of it. But we are not engaging directly with HOAs for that is. So at this point, it's kind of limited to the side of it. But knowing that we've seen 52,000 yard waste trips last year. We are over, I believe now, or pushing about 4,000 yard waste permits, knowing that we have 9,000 dwelling units. The word is definitely out there. So hopefully the private community word is as well. If that's any kind of inkling of where we are on the response to the yard waste center and where people are going with it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It is nonstop.
It's good.
From 9 a.m. this morning till now, it's nonstop.
It is a nonstop operation, and those costs are continue to be substantial as we're, grinding and processing that material. It's significant. Where we are, the pile over there now is when I drove by the other day.
It's gone. It's pretty much gone.
Yeah, but we're going to be ready to grind at some point. The pile's large.
After July, we'll grind again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Item 8, public comment on agenda topics. Nothing. All right. Item 9. Bruce, did you request an executive tonight?
Yes, please, if the board's available.
Topic, please.
Potential litigation and employee issues, not issues, but, review of employee matters.
Pending litigation and potential litigation.
There you go.
That's a litigation.
All right, we will have an executive tonight, potential and, what was the second?
Pending litigation.
Pending litigation.
Yep.
All right, this meeting is adjourned.